I think now's a good time for us to flip the script.
Whew.
What we're going to do is we're going to allow you to both ask myself and Mandy any question you would like to ask. So, who do you want to? Nothing is off limits. Who do you want to ask the question to first, and what is said question?
Yes. Mandy, I'm going to go with you first.
Okay, ready.
Part of my responsibility at Ansera is supporting the sales team as they're building relationships in the space. And I know sales is your thing. You love it. You're passionate about it. One block that I've always had is that I think I've at times perceived salespeople as like pushy or trying to sell me something that I don't need.
Yeah.
How have you overcome that as a professional yourself? And now how do you help others overcome that in themselves as they work to develop their skill as a salesperson?
This is such a good question. And EJ, you are not alone. Even salespeople feel this way about themselves, and they feel this way about other salespeople, even though they're in the business of sales. They're still guilty of like giving that moniker to other salespeople, which you would think they wouldn't because they understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if I go back to my very first sales job, I lied about my very first sales job because I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. I know we talked about it before. My dad was an elevator mechanic. My whole family were, elevator mechanics. And I was told that salespeople are shysters. I was told that salespeople are BSers. Like that's the programming that I heard, right? I saw the car salesman on TV. Like we are programmed with this, whether it is whatever's told to you, the story of your family or whatever you see on TV. Like we are so programmed that way. So I think the first thing is really look as a salesperson or as somebody that manages salespeople, you got to look inward and really address like where do my thoughts, where do my stories about the sales role, where does that come from? Like, is it because I've been scammed before? Because like really most people haven't.
Mm.
Or is it some sort of story that I was told a long time ago and that story stuck? So you have to first look inward on like where does that sales story come from? That's the first thing. And then the second thing is then to remember that everybody is selling something. And a really good salesperson is a good listener, and an excellent salesperson is an educator. And
Mm.
you might need to be educated on something you didn't even know you needed. And I'm not saying a salesperson is selling something to somebody that they don't need, but it's actually educating them on, oh, wow, there's actually a better and cheaper way to do this, or there's actually a better, more efficient way to do this. So I think the first thing is like look inward. The second is actually to look at yourself as an educator and really hone in on the listening. And then the third thing is to be an advocate and actually be an evangelist for disarming the stigma of sales. Because if you are a business owner, you're selling something and you want to be selling something, you should be really passionate about it. If you are a leader, this is the power of persuasion. Like if you're a leader, how many times are you trying to like deploy a message to people? You want them to grab onto it. You want them to fly with it. You're selling a message, right? So it really behooves everybody in the business space to get really comfortable with the notion of sales, understand where their blocks are about it, and get as good at it and as comfortable with it as possible. And that's the work I try and do, because I do work with a lot of non-sales people. Like I work with a lot of operators. I work with like general managers. I work with CFOs who are like, my husband, I hate salespeople. They're so full of it. And I'm like, well, bro, there's so much to talk about here. There's so
Yes.
much. So let's talk about it. Let's get to the brass tacks on this. And then we can open
Absolutely.
up about it. That's how I do it with coaching, but that's what I would share with you too. And how does that help you?
I love it. No, I mean, so when I stepped into Ansera, I joined as a salesperson because it was the
Mhm.
one thing that the one function that I had never done and could never really see myself doing for a lot of these barriers I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
And what I learned in about the year and a half that I was in it before shifting into this role was, man, salespeople have a grit and a resilience and a ability to take rejection. But then also once they get the business, they have to be expert organizational navigators. They have to be able to balance the needs of the client with the resources and demands of their own business. I mean, it's a really unique role that I didn't give it enough credit. And I am so grateful that I went through the experience, because I'm a better marketer, I'm a better leader, and I think I'm a better person as a result of being a salesperson, truly.
Thank you for saying that. No, thanks for saying that, because I think a lot of people would admit that. And it's so easy to go back to that default behavior. So I appreciate you saying that and actually being open-minded to it. That's really
Absolutely.
cool.
Thank you, man. All right, Amani.
Okay.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So I want to talk to you about your role as an educator.
Okay.
I am so fascinated by what it takes to teach and for people to retain what you're teaching them, and for you to maintain their engagement and focus in a time of phones, AI, everything else. So you have a very tough gig as a professor, right? So I'm curious, what secrets have you unlocked to maintaining attention and getting them to retain these important messages you're sharing?
I love the question. I will say a couple things. First, like, you have to make the classroom like a conversation. So it's less of none of me talking at them. It's more of us having a conversation. So if we're talking about the music business, we'll talk about their favorite artists, what they do well, what they maybe need to improve on. When we get to marketing, another thing is that I try to create, I'm not sure the proper term for it, Mandy probably knows, but I try to create certain things to help them remember facts. For example, we talk about music marketing. I always share the story about Edgar Allan Poe. So you have Edgar Allan Poe. One of his famous poems or novels is The Raven. But just remember Poe, P-O-E, because for music marketing, it's paid marketing, it's owned marketing, and it's earned. So Poe. So I try to do that, tell them stories so they remember.
Yes.
So well, because on the exam they say, oh, this question is about Edgar Allan Poe, paid, owned, and earned. So they write it on the exam and they get it. And so that's when I know I'm getting through to them. And then I try to also teach in a way where we learn very differently. All of us learn differently. Some of us are good auditory, some of us are good visual, some of us are very good spoken, some of us are very good written. I design my classes so I can meet people where they are. So yes, we'll have exams. So yes, you have to be able to memorize and do some math, but that's only 20%. Yes, we'll have projects. So if you're good at presenting and talking, that's also 20%. So I try to divide it up so that if you're deficient in one area, like you don't do well on exams, you can still do well in the class because you have the other areas where you're really good at.
Yeah.
And then the final thing is I try to get to know them as people as quickly as possible. I do a pre-class survey, I do a survey in the middle, and I try to call them by their names and remember facts about them so I can follow with them in front of everyone in class. So those are just the four different things I do in the classroom to really make them feel like it's a safe space. Like I always tell them, it's okay to fail here outside of the exams. We can't fail in the exams, but everything else, you can take a risk and ask questions. So when you create a safe space and they know that I care about them because I call them by their name and I remember them, it really helps elevate the learning.
I love it. You're helping them build in public, as you say.
Yes.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Don't you want to be Amani's student? Don't you want to be in one of his classes?
You will be great students. You'll be great students.
Right?
I love it.
Let's go. I'll be your classmate, Mandy. Let's go.
All right, let's go.
Let's do it. I used to get kicked out of class, though. I don't know if you want to align with me. I'm a troublemaker.
It's all good.
It'll be fun.
We'll keep each other in check.
Oh, good. Okay, good.